Happy day, tubers. Doug here. Going to continue on today with number 2 in the series of Pattern Making 101. A couple of vids back, I showed you how I made piece number 1 labeled here, which fits up on the side of my van like so, and fits into this area up here. Okay. Now I've added piece number 2 to this, which is down here, much bigger piece. Now I'm going to switch hands with the camera here, sorry about that. And you can see that when I put this piece in here, right about where it's going to be, now it fits all the way down here to the 2x4, which I said was going to be the top of a bench. Okay. Now, you can see I got a couple of lines there. One of them's kind of squiggled out. That's the wrong one. The other one that's not squiggled out is going to be the actual line of my wall. From up here to down here. And you notice I'm bypassing all of this weirdness so that as I do my sidewalls, that's all going to be covered right up to the ceiling. One straight wall piece from there to there, not curved or arched. Straight wall piece, front to rear. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a piece 3 and maybe a piece 4, because I've got to make the wall that I want that's going to go behind my driver's seat out to about that blue line right there. So I've got to add a piece that'll go all the way down to the floor, all the way out to that blue line, and then, sorry about my arm in the way, up to the ceiling. So that will be piece number 3 and maybe piece number 4. So I'm going to work on that and I'll get back to you. Okay, making this next piece down here is not quite as complicated as this top piece here. I just cut a piece of cardboard and stuffed it in there where I need it. It's got a straight edge on it, but obviously the wall's got a curve to it. So I'm just sticking it in here, right where I know it's going to be, and what I need to do is just trace the outline of the wall to it. I already did that up here. Alright. Yeah, that looks like it. Alright. Now I'll cut that out and we'll see how it looks. Okay. I got piece 3 cut. Now that was kind of a weird looking angle on there. However, that is the shape of the wall, okay, as it fits in here. Now if I put that back in here, nice and tight, like I want, I don't know if this will show very well on the back side, but it fits right in there, and it will allow me to run screws through the wall this way to hold this section of my wall onto the beam without trying to mount it flush here with some type of an angle on each side and more screws and brackets to hold it all on. This way I get to screw right to the back side, and that'll make it a lot stronger. Now if I put piece 1 and 2 up here with this, what you'll see is that now I've got part of the wall. Now I still have to make this piece over here, which will be the next step. And in case you're wondering why I'm doing it in so many little pieces, it's a whole lot easier to work with small pieces like this than one giant piece of cardboard. And also, it's going to serve a couple of functions. Piece 1 and piece 2 is eventually going to get cut on that line to make the pattern for these pieces. But right now, because I need a much bigger piece for my wall, I'm putting it all together, and I'm going to make that wall piece first. Then I'll take off what'll be piece 3 and piece 4 and cut piece 1 and piece 2 to that shape and make my brackets that I'm going to need for the sidewall. And I won't need to transfer that to the other side of the vehicle, because this side is going to be completely different. This wall is going to be vertical from the top of the wall to the floor. It'll be vertical, so it's not going to match any curvature, but that's the next step. Alright, let's get back to this, back in a bit. Okay guys, here we go, the full piece. Now I added a 5th piece there, but it's just kind of like an extension of the 4th piece. But that's about what the wall is going to look like. Okay, now the top's not cut accurately, simply because the real ceiling, if I put my straight edge up here, that's about where the ceiling is going to be. So I've left myself a bunch of wiggle room up there to adjust. So that won't be too tough to do. And I've got a little bit of adjustment to do up in this area. Okay, but I made a note. All I'm going to do is when I actually cut the piece, I'm going to add a 1/4 inch all the way around there. That's probably too much, but I'll do that and then bring the piece out and test fit it and adjust as necessary. Now the reason that's off up there, if you remember back to the previous video on pattern making, that this piece number 1, was actually designed and cut for this rib. And if you remember when I showed you when I made that, every other rib around here, that one, and that one, was all different, with this one being really far off compared to where it's sitting right now up at this one. So every one of them was different. The only one that really fit well was this one. So I'm just going to adjust a little bit after I get, to make this piece, and then I'll cut one that's exactly like that for this piece, and then I'll add a little here and there as I need to get down to the end. But that's basically it. So this is, one way of making a pattern. There are others. This is the way I chose to do it. Like I said, some adjustments to do. This line is not perfectly straight, but when I lay it out, I can put my straight edge up against that edge and I'll come up with a straight line. That will be a 90-degree corner. I'll do that with a square. So the bottom and this edge will be a 90-degree. And it should come out just fine. And again, I will cut my first piece, which won't be the actual piece. It'll be another template. I'm going to make a template out of hardboard of this piece, a little bit bigger in certain areas, and then I'm going to test fit it and trim as necessary, and then I will have the final actual template that I'm going to work with. So that's about it. Well, we'll try and keep moving from this point, and we'll see how everything develops. Alrighty? Thanks for looking. Subscribe and like the video. Send it along if you can. See ya.